Are you aware that the district attorney and judges use police reports in order to establish probable cause to file criminal complaints?
Yes.
And judges use police reports to issue search warrants and restraining
Okay,
orders?
what does this have
Yes.
to do?
Sir, these are valid questions, and if
For what
you're going to
purpose?
make speaking objections, go off the record. Mr. Foley, these are classic questions in any evidence course, and you should know that.
How would you know?
Well, what'd you score on your boards?
I'm an attorney.
What did you score on your boards?
Maybe about 540.
Oh, gee, it shows, it figures. Should a true and accurate report include exculpatory evidence? In other words, evidence that tends to clear the accused man of wrongdoing.
Yes.
This has to go to credibility, the deputy's credibility and your client's credibility. This is a sworn statement from Mr. Bridges and a sworn photograph, sworn to be true under oath. If you could please take a look at that. Those are alleged to be paper cuts suffered by Mr. Bridges
Okay.
at a deposition like this. In other words, we were passing documents like this, back and forth. Have you ever received any paper cuts like that? Sir, could you please, have you ever received paper cuts like that?
Exactly like this?
Well,
No.
similar.
Not on my forearms, no.
Well, do you think 2 sheets of paper being passed back and like this, being passed back and forth, could make those cuts?
It's possible.
Deputy, please. How wide are those cuts? 1/4 inch, would you say?
I don't have a measuring tool. or-
About 1/4 inch, would you estimate?
Are you talking about the cut themselves or the distance between the two cuts?
The cuts.
Based on the scale of the arm, about 1/4 inch, yes.
Okay, and you think sliding papers or even throwing papers, 2 sheets of paper stapled together could make, you're not liable, so you can answer truthfully. And
Right, and I am.
And you think 2 sheets of paper could make that cut?
It's possible. Again, I wasn't there, sir, but you're asking me to assume that is it possible that 2 pieces of paper could cut somebody like this? Yes, it is possible.
And can you demonstrate how that would work?
I can't recreate the incident
Well, but
because I wasn't there.
could you demonstrate in any way how 2 pieces of paper could make those cuts? Because they can't, Deputy.
Okay, but again, it is possible. And again, I was not there. I wasn't there. I don't know how far you were sitting from this person. I don't know the type of paper you were handing them or whatnot.
Would you agree to go off the record, so we don't make a spectacle of this thing, for 5 minutes, and you can demonstrate on my arm how that would happen?
I can hand you the paperwork back. If you're, I mean.
Right, so would you agree to go off the record and
Sir, we don't need to go off the record for anything.
Okay, and you're saying as you sit there now that it's possible that he could have received those injuries from, because I'll show you. Do you see, Deputy? Do you see? There's no
Okay.
way to do that.
Okay.
Now, if you think you can demonstrate how that's done, please do so now. Okay, would you say how possible? One chance out
I don't
of
know, sir.
a
I'm not
million?
going to add a mathematical equation to that.
Well, could you show that to the photo to the camera, please?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like them back, please. Would you say that you say it's possible, and you've never seen that, I'm sure, correct?
Seen what?
Injuries like this caused by a paper cut.
I can't recall, no.
So no, you've never seen any, correct?
Correct.
And you've never received paper cuts like this at a deposition, have you?
No.
Okay. And would you say, when you say it's possible, and you say anything's possible, well, I'm not sure about that, but would you say the possibility is 0.1? How about 1 out of 1,000? Do you think?
Again, I can't apply a mathematical
1 out of a
equation.
million?
I can't do that, sir, because I don't know, because I was not there.
Does it appear that Mr. and Mrs. Bridges have told the truth to the authorities?
Yes,
Deputy, you're under oath, you know.
I understand that.
Well, I'm pointing out one one falsehood after another, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir. If somebody was the victim of a crime, they're also the witness of that crime to themselves.
Should a true and accurate report include exculpatory evidence? In other words, evidence that tends to clear the accused man of wrongdoing.
Yes.
Did you do that in this case?
If I was told something, I would add it to the report.
And since you didn't contact me, then you would not know that, right?
Correct. Stand
Right.
that. But if you're suggesting that you're going to waste my time continuously, then at some point I do have to leave today.
So if you could please take a look at declaration in support of arrest. I'll just read it quickly. You have a copy, but I'll just read it here. The DA said, Exhibit A contains a true, accurate account of the activities of law enforcement officers upon whom this declarant reasonably relies. So do you think the DA is, what she's saying there is she's relying on your report to file a criminal complaint against me and have me arrested?
Correct.
Would you agree?
Yes.
So you can understand why I'm asking you these questions. Can you not?
Yes.
Well, in the first paragraph of your report, you mentioned that Larry gave you a stack of approximately 100 pages that you sent along to the district attorney. Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, do you think that's at all misleading? If there's only been one incident, alleged harassment, in 10 years? So I'm asking you, does that seem at all suspicious to you? That they're exaggerating, that they're laying it on thick, in other words?
No.
Doesn't seem suspicious. How many times has that happened to you in the past where someone hands you 100 pages of documents, a private citizen?
I can't recall that many pages being handed to me.
Never, never.
In this occasion, yes, but other than this, no.
So this is the only time.
Yes, sir.
Sir, if I can draw your attention to the declaration again. You can see that the Bridges accused me of breaking their car windows, correct?
That's what it reads?
Okay. Their car windows. This was in 2009. Do you have any evidence of that I broke their car windows? I know, so that you don't have any evidence that I broke their windows, correct?
Myself, personally, no.
Well, do you think someone does?
It's possible.
And who would that be?
I don't know.
I'd like you to take a look at some transcripts. Well, sir, if you could take a look at this document, please. This is a transcript from the restraining order. Question, ma'am, isn't it true that the vandalized car accusation is filler to creating a timeline between 2005 and 2012? Answer, no comment. So in other words, I'm asking her if she basically was, lying about her accusation. She says no comment. Does that make you at all, as a deputy sheriff, does that make you at all suspicious of her truthfulness?
No.
Sir, have you ever heard anyone in court, and you've been in court before, correct?
Yes.
Have you ever heard anyone answer a question, no comment?
I can't recall.
So you haven't, you don't recall, correct?
Yes.
Well, sir, if we could just take a look for a moment at the documents you mentioned about a restraining order. You weren't cut there, were you, Deputy?
No.
I'm not mocking you. I'm just trying to get at the truth. If you could please take a look at the incident report. You write that Michelle has received a restraining order pending service to suspect Smith. So you're aware that the order was granted without my knowledge, correct?
That's what I was told.
And without without an opportunity to respond, correct? It would follow, correct?
Correct.
So you would agree under those circumstances that Mrs. Bridges or anyone else could make any accusation he or she wants to, correct?
Correct.
But have you heard of anyone being prosecuted for perjury
Yes.
in a restraining order?
Not specifically restraining order, but for perjury, yes.
Right, so no, not in a restraining order. Have you ever heard any public criticism about restraining orders being misused?
Yes.
Have you ever heard of the phrase restraining order industry?
No.
Restraining order scam?
No.
Are you aware that lawyers' fees are provided for in the restraining order statute so that lawyers make a lot of money, whoever wins or loses?
I'm not aware of that.
Okay, well, that's 527.6 is the statute, if it matters. But do you know how much federal or state funding the Sheriff's Department receives from restraining orders?
No.
Do you know how much money the county receives in general?
No.
The Women's Center?
No.
The Self-Help Office?
No.
If you could please take a look at page 4 of the restraining order. Number 15. It reads, Mr. Smith lives in a fenced compound with a locked gate. And where I live off of Jesus Maria, have you ever seen a compound?
I can't recall that specifically.
I'd like to live in a compound, but do you think it implies something ominous, or foreboding for them to make that accusation? For example, Osama bin Laden lived in a compound.
Okay.
Do you think they're being deceptive when they use a term like that?
No. That's
No?
their description of a residence.
Then they go with locked gate. Are you aware that I don't even have a fenced yard?
I'm not aware.
And there's no time limit on writing one of these things. Is there one of your incident reports?
There is.
What is the time limit?
Reasonable time.
Well, okay. And sometimes, to be reasonable, it might take a month. It could take 5 minutes. So you had time. You had a week at least to finish it?
Depending on what day this fell on in my work week.
But if you asked your supervisor, Hewitt, to if you needed more time to solve the case, he would have granted it, you think?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you weren't under the gun. No one was holding a gun at your head.
No.
Including his prior refusal to answer his door, come to the gate, or answer his phone when the Sheriff's Department attempted to make contact with him. Do you know anything about that? How did I refuse to answer my door?
I do not know.
Would you know if any officers came to my door?
No.
Come to my gate. Are you aware that my gate is a quarter mile from my house so that I don't know who's at my front gate?
I do not know.
Are you aware that I was home that entire period of time from that you so-called investigated or didn't investigate this case?
No.
And you don't think, if I understand your testimony, you don't think